Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, it's the Above the Bar. It's your host, Sean, and we've bellied up here on the first Wednesday in September. I think it's the 3rd. Yeah. I always forget the day of the week. It's September 3rd, and we're bellied up as, you know what? And I think this is a phenomenal topic because we are coming to the end of the summer food season as we're getting ready to get into that fall food season, which is also a highly emotional food season, because we all tie the next few holidays into something of an emotional standpoint, something that deals with our feelings. So, and Michelle told me how to pronounce her last name, and I'm going to butcher it, but because this is who I am. If those of y'all that know the show, I butcher last names like it's going out of business. So joining us, folks, from not far from my original hood, like literally a bridge over, physically a bridge over. So joining us all the way from down in Maryland and Annapolis, it's Michelle Petties.
You said it perfectly.
Did I get it right, Petties?
Yeah. You got the check. You got the check for it.
Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Got it right. Because Michelle, I butchered the daylights out of names. I am absolutely the worst person for names in the world, and I don't know why. But we're going to be talking with Michelle. Look, we've had other coaches on, and we're going to talk about her coaching title also. We've had a bunch of other coaches on, but Food Story Coach is a first. So we're going to be talking to Michelle about food and how emotions are attached to food and our food habits as people. I know I've got some personal ones that I'm always curious about that come from my time in the Marine Corps. So, but before we get into that, as always, folks, over my right shoulder, it's the big board for stickering a cause. If you got something that you're supporting, something you believe in, something you want other people to know about, and you've got a sticker associated with it, you can reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, our website, or X. Our website is theabovethebarpodcast.com. Our email is theabovethebarpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know what it is. Let me know what you got going on. We will read about you live here on the air. Oh, Miss Wendy Ford, how are you, my dear? Always a pleasure to have Wendy joining us out in California. She's brought us a lot of great guests, but reach out to me. Let me know what it is. We'll put that sticker up on the board so everybody can know all about it and what you got going on. And we got to talk about the people to pay the bills around here, Michelle. And that's Budget Blinds of East Greenbush, Budget Blinds of Hudson and Cooksaki, and Budget Blinds of Schoharie, all up here in New York. North America's largest custom window treatment company. They handle everything from blinds, shades, shutters, drapery, even do window tinting if that's something you're looking for. And for those of you that have those weird custom-shaped windows, trust me, window tinting is an amazing way to get those things covered and not break the bank on it. And if you reach out to them during the month of September, Budget Blinds of East Greenbush, Hudson, Cooksaki, Schoharie, all those locations, you reach out to them in the month of September, and they are doing their back-to-school buy two, get one free sale. So that means for every 2 shades you get, you got a 3rd shade. So you got that bathroom you want to take care of, that kitchen sink you want to take care of. That's an easy way to get them done and not have to spend a lot of money on any of those things. Also, as always, folks, if you let them know that you're there to belly up to the bar, they are going to give you an additional 5% off your entire order. So if you think about that for a minute, that's a free window treatment and 5% off your entire order. So make sure you're reaching out to Budget Blinds of East Greenbush, Budget Blinds of Hudson and Cooksaki, and Budget Blinds of Schoharie, North America's largest custom window treatment company. All right, Miss Michelle, we're all done. All the house cleaning's done and over with and out of the way.
All right.
How are you today?
I'm fabulous.
Is it? How's the weather? How's the weather in Maryland? Let's ask about the weather.
So you know what? I'm from Maryland. I live in Annapolis, but right now I am talking to you from Los Angeles. I am in my hotel room in LA. I'm out here for the Western Arts Alliance, Western Artist Alliance conference.
What is that? Western Artist Alliance.
Yeah, Western Artist Alliance. So it is a conference for performing artists.
Okay.
I mean, it's about 600 people out here. They're agents, they're venues, they're
Oh, nice.
singers, they're dancers. I mean, theater people. And I'm conducting a workshop for them tomorrow. So that's why I'm here.
You saw my performing artist snap. I can do
Yeah, yeah, step,
do it.
step, 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 step. Yep. So I'm
That's
I'm doing I'm doing a workshop for them, um, for it's self care.
okay.
Actually, the name of it is well being. No, it's wellness, wholeness, and well being for creatives. And the whole notion is that in order for performers of any kind, whether you're on stage or you're just living your life, you have to eat in a way that nourishes your brain and your body so that you can perform at your highest level. And if you don't know that you're doing that, you're not you're not getting everything that you could. You're not giving everything that you could because you're not nourishing yourself in a way that actually contributes to that.
Okay. So you're teaching that mindset of eat to live, not live to eat.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And it's funny, like, and we were talking about this beforehand. She knows why I'm looking to the left to look at all my notes here. So you've, I mean, let's. I'm going to dive right into the food thing and get into this. So I know the cultures I come from. You know, growing up in Baltimore myself, and you living in Annapolis, you know, it's a very, in my opinion, I've been to a lot of cities that claim to be food cities and whatnot. Oh, we've got this and that. You're out in LA. I think everything, I've been out there. Everything's so spread out there. Like Baltimore to me is always the world's smallest large town.
Mm-hmm.
Greeks still live in Greektown. Italians still live in Little Italy. You know, there's areas like, gosh, not Reisterstown, but I can't think of it right now. But there, you know, whatever your ethnic and religious background, you still stay in those neighborhoods. You don't go out, and the food in those neighborhoods, a lot of times, is still the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I come from a very food oriented city in that way. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're from Texas, where I think it's another state that feels like, hey, our food's the best. We've got the barbecue thing. And
Yes,
you go to
yes,
East Texas, you know, it gets very
yes,
into people don't realize Cajun cooking in East Texas is a huge, huge thing.
yes.
So tell me how you started this journey into this food world for yourself and becoming, I love this, food story coach. I
Food
love
story
that.
coach. Okay. So you actually, Sean, you gave me the perfect segue for this conversation and that question. And as you talked about, it's summertime, or summertime is close, is coming to an end, and we're leaving like the summertime food season, and we're heading into the fall, which is just all food all the time
Oh gosh.
throughout the holidays for most people. And so I'm going to talk about that, and I'm also going to talk about being a food story coach. So let me start also with the fact that we're at the bar, right? We're above the bar. I'm yes indeed. I am from Texas, and being from Texas, one of my favorite cuisines, if not my favorite cuisine, is Mexican food. Right?
Uh,
I didn't grow up with Mexican food, but I love. There's a story as to
I,
why I
I
love
get
it.
it.
We won't necessarily get into that tonight. But after I wrote my book, which chronicled my 40-year journey through food addiction and gaining and losing over 700 pounds, after I wrote that, oh, you got a little reaction there. Uh,
700 pounds. Listen, that depending on how you break that down, that's a lot of people.
That's right. It's a lot of people. That's a lot. That's a lot of people over a long time.
Yeah.
Over a very long time. It was a 40-year battle.
Wow.
So I'm living proof that it is possible to win the battle. First of all. But anyway, so I wrote my book, and it was coming out in 2021. And I went home to Texas. This was November. It was Thanksgiving, holiday eating time.
Oh yeah.
And I'm meeting one of my very best friends at my favorite Mexican restaurant. She calls me at the last minute and says, I can't make it. Well, I'm eating anyway. I'm going, right? I'll see you later, right? And I'm by myself. I go to the bar. And now because I have shed the pounds, I've shed the weight, and I have this consciousness about what I'm eating, I go to the bar, and when the bartender brings the chips, I say, no, thank you, I don't want the chips. Not
Okay.
because I felt like I was going to be tempted, but I just knew I didn't want them, and no point of them sitting there. I'm looking through the menu, Sean, and I don't want anything on the menu. My
Wow.
my favorite Mexican restaurant, my favorite food. I'm like, I'm working with myself. Why is it that how can I be here and not want anything on the menu? I had that same look on my face, the same look you have. That's the look
Right,
I
right.
had, right? And so, but I ordered a drink because at that time I was still drinking. I ordered my favorite jalapeno margarita. So I'm sitting here drinking my jalapeno margarita, wondering why I don't want anything that I see on the menu. And I am sitting next to these two young guys. I'm sitting next to two young white guys. And that's important for this conversation to
Okay.
know that at some point later on. And so one of them sees my car keys and he strikes up a conversation. And I say, I'm visiting from Annapolis, blah, 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 blah. And he goes on to tell me that he almost went to the Naval Academy, and we're having a perfectly lovely bar talk. And then he asked me, what do you do? What's your profession? Well, now I had just written this book. My book was about to come out, and I thought, well, I'm a writer. Let me try that out. I haven't put that out in the world yet. Let me say I'm a writer. And so I said, I'm a writer. And so he looked at me and said, well, what do you write about? And I proceeded to tell him about food stories. I proceeded to tell him about how what we do with food, how we consume it, how we manage it, what we think about it is intricately tied to our history with food. That events, memories, experiences determine how we deal with food. And unless we are conscious of that, we'll be trapped by those events, memories, and thoughts. And so my book is about how I stayed trapped and how I found freedom by going through my stories, my old stories, and getting the truth. And then, Sean, this young white guy said to me, well, I think you have something there. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm 60 years old. Pray tell, young fella, why do you think I have something here?
Did you
And
say it like that, or did you say
And
young?
he looked at young fella. I said young
You
fella.
said pray tell.
I said that to myself. I said that to myself. I said that to myself. And so then he said, and I said, well, why do you say that? And he said, now I understand why I get sad every time I eat steak, peas, and mashed potatoes. That was the
Really?
that was the meal I was eating when my parents told me they were going to get a divorce.
No shit.
And I'm telling you, Sean,
Wow.
that this guy's David and Brandon. There was two of them. We sat there after he said that. We sat there at that bar. We talked for an hour and a half. We talked about race. We talked about religion. We talked about economics. We talked about education. We sat there at that bar and we connected. And the only reason that we were able to connect, because that conversation wouldn't have happened the year before or 2 years
Right.
before, was because I wasn't in the plate of enchiladas, because I wasn't in the chips, because I was open for what we all subconsciously or think that food can do. Food can't give us a personal connection. And that happened in 2021. This is 2025. I am still talking about that conversation because it was so profound. The fact that when we move the food out of the way, we can make authentic connections with one another, because we can authentically connect with ourselves, and we can be healed in a way that's emotional healing that food can never do.
That's wow. I got to tell you, that's a pretty profound way of looking at it, because I can tell you right now, as you were saying it, I was thinking to myself, like, I have personally, like, I don't have like where that person had an, I don't know if negative's the right way to say it, but they had a impactful memory in their lives about food. But I was, as you were saying it, I was thinking to myself, you know, one of my favorite meals that I don't get enough of is gołąbki. Have you ever had gołąbki?
I have no idea what that is.
So it's a Polish dish.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it sticks in my mind is my my aunt married a Polish guy when I was a kid, and his mother, Miss Taransky, was to this day one of the most amazing home cooks you've ever met in your life. And she had like nine kids in a 2-bedroom Baltimore City house, and the rules were very simple. Um, as you walk through, get your plate and get out of the kitchen, because there was really the kitchen table was for Mr. Taransky, and that was about it. Nobody else was sitting there. But it created for me a very positive memory as you were saying this, because food to me, I don't have any negative food memories, but I will tell you all events in my life revolve around food and alcohol. Like
Mm-hmm.
as you're saying this, I'm just thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you work? Is this like with your book? And look, folks, if you're just joining us and you want to know what Michelle's got going on, it's go.michelle.pettis, and that's PETTIES.com for her website. She's got a workshop on the 9th. If you type in / get unstuck, she's got a website coming up. And for those of you that are joining us right now, if you have a food story or a food memory, drop it into the chat. We'd love to hear what that
Yes.
memory is.
Yes.
But what I'm curious of is how do, like, I'm trying to, like, it's such a huge thing that, like, what you just said, it really is very impactful. How did you take that 2021 conversation? Then it's a book. Was the TED Talk? I'm assuming the TED Talk was after that also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So at the time that I had this conversation with Brandon and David, I had already written my book.
Okay.
The book was about to come out. So, and the book is Leaving Large, The Stories of a Food Addict. After I wrote the book, then I got the invitation to do the TED Talk. And so the TEDx talk. And the name of the talk is A Food Addict's Lesson: Confusion, Clarity, Recovery. And the reason that it's called Confusion, Clarity, Recovery, I want to start with the confusion piece, because we are confused about a lot of things when it comes to food and emotions. And the processed food manufacturers, the stacked food manufacturers, the junk food manufacturers do two things. They do more than two things, but they take advantage of that confusion and they fuel that confusion. They take advantage of that confusion and they fuel that confusion. The illuminating thing that I learned on this journey, that I never really had a consciousness about, because this is about consciousness. This is about awareness. So once we're able to get conscious, get aware, then we can transform. First step to transformation is consciousness and awareness. Was that the confusion that I had was what the purpose of food was. The purpose of food is nutrition, nourishment, and energy. That is its purpose. That if the problem that it solves is hunger, it can't do anything other than that. Food can't do anything other than solve hunger. It can do nothing other than provide nourishment, nutrition, and energy. But we live in a society that tells us that food is the answer to everything but that.
What do you mean?
We live in a society that tells us that food is entertainment, that it is pleasure, that it's an activity, that it is at the center, just like you said, it is at the center of everything. It is at the center of social events. It is nourishment, nutrition, and energy. Here's why I say that. If you think that food can be an expression of that, right? But first of all, we have to be real clear what food is. So if food is nutrition, nourishing, energy, its only purpose is to solve hunger, then if you give somebody, I don't know, 12 dozen donuts, because or 12 donuts, and there's some donut stories in my book, because you love them, right? Then you have to look at those donuts and say, are they nutritious? Are they nourishing? Are they? Or 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 does that sugar break down your body? Does it lead to diabetes? Does it cause mood swings? Does it hike your blood sugar? Right? So if you look at those donuts and say this product does, then it's clear that it's not food. It's clear that it's dangerous. And if you love somebody, would you give them something that is dangerous? Would
No.
you give them something that is unhealthy? Would you give them something that is poisonous? Would you give them something that is addictive? Because there's a research out there that shows that sugar is more addictive than cocaine. It lights up the same reward centers in the brain. So when people eat it, they can't stop eating this substance that ultimately harms, right? That harms their body. And yet, I want to bring you this cake. I want to make you these cookies because I love you. That's confusion.
And Pacheco throws it out. She says, she was one of my Marines. She says, sugar causes and feeds cancer.
Absolutely. And it is in everything.
Yes.
And so that's one part of the confusion right there. Right? I mean, I have seen this, Sean, too many times out and this is I don't have kids. So if what I'm saying, I'm no shade on mothers, because we've all been marketed to and advertised to. So you got a kid, the kid is upset and anxious, and you're like, here, baby, you want a cookie? Let mommy give you a chocolate chip cookie, make you feel better. Boom. And maybe and the kid's not hungry. What the kid is anxious and upset about something.
Right.
And so what the kid needs is for you to be picked up and loved on, and their back rubbed, right? Because now we've got this habit, this belief that starts very early, that if when I'm anxious and when I'm upset, what I do is I pick up a chocolate chip cookie or I get something sweet. That's the way to solve it. But it doesn't solve it. And that's what the big issue is that if you do the research, and I've done the research, and the numbers will say from anywhere from 35 to 75% of people say I'm an emotional eater. I eat because I have some emotion that I can't manage. I have some emotion that's kind of taken over in this space, and I don't know what to do about it. So I eat. Well, here's what the problem is that when you have an emotion, let's say it's loneliness. Let's say it's boredom. That's the two I get all the time when I'm coaching people. I eat when I'm lonely. I eat when I'm bored. Where there's 100 others out there that we don't even recognize or honor or acknowledge because we don't deal with them. But let's just say you eat. You say you eat because you're bored, right?
Like I said, I've done it. I've definitely done it.
Of course, because we have advertising and marketing messages that tell us all the time that eating and going out to eat will cure that. But here's what will happen is that you go get something to eat and you're not hungry, but you're bored. You've now eaten because you're not hungry and you are still bored. But your senses, what you need to be activated, has not been engaged. So when you're bored, when you're lonely, when you have some sort of emotion that's not being addressed, not being dealt with, that creates discomfort. That creates pain. That creates this unmet need that just lives in your stomach. And we think because it's in our stomach that it's hunger. And it's not. It's this emotional place that has not been healed. So we keep eating to deal with this thing that's in our stomach that is not actually hunger. So we get confused because we don't know the difference between hunger and these other emotions that might settle there. And so we continue to eat.
And Kristen says sugar can also put us on a physical and emotional roller coaster. I can see that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, let me throw this. I got to throw this twist at you though.
Okay.
So and I know you're going to have an answer for me. And look, folks, if you want to know what Michelle is all about, go to go.michelle.petties.com, and Petties is Petties. I want to hear your food stories. Those of you that are watching us either over here on Instagram to my left or here on all the other stuff here, all the Facebooks and all that. I want to hear your food stories so that, Michelle can talk to us about it. But I come from food is love.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, my grandmother and my great grandmother, they're Sicilian. You eat for that. It's love. You bring people together around a meal. So with all that you're saying though, that the emotional and memory attachments to it, like, how do you, like, are you saying separate those, or are you saying, no, it's okay. You have to understand them. I'm trying to figure out where this is.
Yeah. Both. I'm saying both. And so I will tell you something, Sean. I do these workshops all over the country, right? I do them all over the country. And no matter where I go, people will come to me and say, I'm Jewish. Food is love. This is how we express it in our family. I'm Italian. Food is love. This is how we express it out. I'm from the South. It is the center of everything. Food is at the center of everything.
Oh,
so no one is special in that respect. No one is special because all cultures do it for the most part. For the most part, because there are situations, and I grew up around it. I'm from the South.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. So you go to someone's house, and if you don't ask for seconds, they're offended. Right. You go to what they think
you didn't like it.
You didn't like it. There's something wrong with it. Right. So but that is script that we need to rewrite. That is script that we need to rewrite. And here's how we do it. I'm gonna tell you how we do it.
Please help me, because I'm thinking this.
Okay. I'm going to tell you how to do it, because once we fundamentally understand that the purpose of food is just fuel. I'm not saying that it can't taste good, but I'm saying the most important thing is that it's safe. Is that we are conditioned to make decisions about what we eat based on appearance, taste, smell, and pleasure. Mostly pleasure. And none of those things have anything to do with why we should eat in the first place and what food's purpose is, which is nutrition. Appearance, taste, smell, and pleasure have nothing to do with nutrition. And so we are confused about how to make decisions on what is nourishing to our body. If the purpose of food is fuel, nourishment, and nutrition, then we need to make decisions about what we're going to eat based on those things. Because the nourishment and nutrition not only fuels our bodies, it fuels our brain. And our brains are the center. Our bodies follow our brain. So the decisions that we need to be making about how is this going to help me with performance, with my mental performance? Is this going to help me with cognition? Is this going to help me with memory? Is this going to help me perform at a higher level? Is eating this going to do that? Is this going to be safe? And it requires a completely rewiring of our thinking and our brains and our beliefs about what to eat, why to eat, and when to eat it, because we live in a food culture that is being driven by the people that manufacture it and want us to eat more of it and buy more of it for their profit at the expense of our health. So so many of these messages that have been passed down about food being love and the bigger portion, and you have to have this for that, is because it has been marked. We have heard it for so long that we believe it's marketing. So we have to stop. We have to stop that. But back to how you deal with it in your family situation. Yeah. I want to deal with that.
Help me out.
Because I don't know if you listened to my TED Talk or not, but in my TED Talk I said there are 3 things I will never eat again. I'll never eat my grandmother's peach cobbler, my mother's lemon pound cake, my Aunt Dorothy's sweet potato pie, or bread pudding even has bourbon sauce on it. Now, I am a stone cold sugar addict. I'm the person that would go to a Starbucks. I know they're not paying you, but I would go to the Starbucks. I'd get the lemon pound cake, the sweet potato bread, and the banana bread, all three of them, and a cup of coffee with Splenda, and eat all three of them in about 10 minutes.
You know what's better?
That's addiction.
Bojangles sweet potato pie.
I'll never know. So, but my point is my grandmother, my aunt, and my mother are all dead. But even if they were alive and making those things, I would not eat them. And here's how I would not do it. I would love them up. I would love them up. Thank you. I love you so much for making this beautiful gift, because they're doing it out of love. They're doing it out of love. They don't realize that it's poisonous. They don't realize that it impairs my health. They don't realize that it's addictive. They don't know that. They're just doing this thing and that honors their gifts. Right, because for so long, all people had to show an expression of their appreciation was food. All they had was food. Well, we have other things now, but love them up. Glow up on their talents. I am sure this is so good. But here's a phrase. That doesn't agree. I'm from the South. This is what you say when you don't eat stuff. That doesn't agree with me.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah,
Lord, child, I'd love to have that, but that don't agree.
Child, I
can't have that.
That don't agree with me.
Ooh, you got to throw child.
Yeah, you got to put that, and then kiss them again, and then tell them something healthy you want them to make for you. I would love it if you would make some greens for me. I would love it if you would make some beans for me. I would love it if you, because this doesn't agree with me. I used to eat it. I love it. It's beautiful, but it just right.
So I want to pause you for a second because I know exactly what you're saying, but I want to pause you for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So, not getting into a political thing, because I just don't give a shit what anybody else's politics are. Mine are the only ones that are important to me. And I mean that in a positive way. Like, my politics matter to me, not yours. That's your politics.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, we have someone at the Department of Health that a lot of the stuff he does, I don't agree with. Like, hey, guess what? Scientists understand stuff. But at the same time, I think the FDA allows shit to go through. Like, guess what, folks? I love a little shredded Parmesan Reggiano on some pasta. I love that flavor. Take a look at the next time you get out your shaker of Parmesan cheese, and when it says cellulose on it, that's wood chips, if you didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think, or is there a way, or what do you, it's kind of a three-part, like, what do you think? Is there a way, and how can we work with, and I love Troy, one of my closest friends, I've known him forever. Troy says he likes the way I'm drinking whiskey while you're talking about eating healthy. And then and he says the person we're referring to because he works out in jeans. Yes, he does. But is there, like, there are things here in the US, and I think it's a very US problem, that we call food that other countries do not, like breads.
Absolutely.
Why do you think we allow that to get away with? Like, there's stories that, like, hey, it's the 1950s, post Second World War. I'm tired of hearing about post Second World War, and that's the why. Like, here's one. Yeah. Do you know what generally recognized as safe is? Do you know what that is? Have you heard the term? Here's one for you for
whatever it is. It sounds scary. It doesn't sound safe at all.
So this is something that the FDA, all these chemicals that are in our foods today, the FDA, most of these are 50, 60, and 70-year-old chemicals that are in our food that the FDA has never gone back and reevaluated, and won't allow anyone to reevaluate, because they're generally recognized as safe. They call it GRAS, GRS, generally recognized as safe. Like the dye, like food dyes and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's generally recognized as
Yeah.
safe. It's got to be okay.
Yeah.
How do we break this? Not just, hey, I'm going to stop eating this and I'm going to be the weird one at the family event that everyone's going to look at and go, why aren't you eating grandma's mashed potatoes? How do we break that as a society, though? Do you have any opinions on that?
Yeah, I do have some opinions on that. We do it one step at a time. And here's the thing, is that we are too trusting. We have to be vigilant about everything that we put in our mouth, and really get to the point where there's a real fundamental understanding or recognition that everything you believe about the safety of food and what food is right now is a lie, and it is based on profit. And so there's some basic I guess tenets, that I think about, right? And they're not that I'm trying to let me turn. I don't know why that phone came through. Not that I'm trying to bash any particular store, but what I do want people to know is that just because you bought it from the health food store doesn't mean that it's safe. Just because you got it, they serve it at a restaurant, doesn't mean it's safe. You go into a grocery store and think about this, Sean. You go into a grocery store and there may be one aisle with the shelves on either side, and it'll say health food. Right? Okay. If this one aisle is health food, what's everything else in the store?
Did you know that most grocery stores have 55,000 products in them?
I don't know what the number of them, but I would venture to say if there are 55,000 products in there, then 54,000 of them are inedible. I mean, just why is sugar in nuts? Why is sugar in nuts?
That's a great question.
So back to your question, is that there's certain things that we can't do on a policy level, but there are things that we can do in terms of our individual choices. And you mentioned about the red dye. All right. So even though everybody knew this long before a couple of months ago, they came out. FDA says, "Oh, red dye causes cancer." Right? Red that dye number 40 causes cancer. It's going to be off the shelves in 2026.
Why we got to wait that long?
What's that? And not only that, do you really believe that the red dye is the only dye that causes cancer? Do you think that the yellow dye and the orange and the blue don't? And that's the only one that does? So the answer at this point for me is that we have to take responsibility for the choices that we make about what we put in our mouths. Not from the standpoint of blame, but just from the recognition that we have been lied to and marketed to for decades. So the first thing that we have to do is recognize that it's lies, do our own research, and start making decisions about our health that will save our lives, and not making decisions based on appearance, taste, smell, and pleasure. And getting this fundamental understanding that stuff is addictive. Here's the kind of like the okie doke, Sean, is that the diet industry counts on the fact that we're going to get it wrong. They count on the fact that we're just going to focus on how much can I eat, how much can I have, and how much can I work out. I know that because that's what I did for 40 years. Yeah. We're gonna rely on willpower, self-control, and self-discipline, and those things are going to fail us, and we're going to feel like a failure. But we're not gonna know what to do to understand that what I eat and how much I eat and the working out, that's behavior. To get the surgery, that is behavior. To go on a particular diet plan, that is all behavior. To take a pill, that is all behavior. But the behavior does not work unless you change your belief system. You have to change your brain. You have to change your thinking. And when you change your thinking, then your body will follow. We hear this all the time, the Pareto principle. You can't exercise your way out of a bad diet. It's 80% of what you eat and 20% of how you move. I hear people say it all the time. You can lean into that if you want to, but the reality is that it's 100% what you think. And if you change your thinking and do that first, then the behavior becomes something that you can stick to. You become transformed, but they don't tell you how to transform your thinking. And the way that you transform your thinking, I'll tell anybody that's listening right now, is you have to change the neural pathways in your brain, because we already have the neural pathways in our brain have already been conditioned, informed by the marketing and the advertising and our history and our lives and the experiences that we have with food for us to act in a certain way. And so that's why the willpower and the self-control doesn't work, because those pathways in the brain are already established. And so you can't fight them. What you have to do is establish new pathways that are based on new thoughts, new thinking, new beliefs around the truth about what food is and what the emotions are. And the way that you do that is you do that with visualization. You do that with affirmations. You do that with meditation, and you do that with writing. Because those are the tools. Those are the four things. And you do those things in community so that they can be affirmed, right? Those things create new pathways so that you can direct your thoughts to eat in a way that serves and honors your body, not in a way that the marketers and the advertisers want you to eat to serve their profit and bottom line. But they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that you got to change your brain, and here's how you change your brain, because they want you to stay stuck. They want you to stay disempowered, because when food is at the root of our health, it is at the root of our health. And if we don't,
100%.
If we don't have our health, we cannot step into wealth. If we don't have our health, we cannot step into our purpose. If we don't have our health, we can be controlled, because there will become a time when the healthy will rule the unhealthy. We may already be there. And the way it is the food. And when you make the decision, when you are willing to go through the process of that transformation, where you're eating to save your life, not because it tastes good, not because it's pleasure, right? That it is about your life and your health and your strength. It is a complete switch. It is a complete turnaround.
All right, so a couple of things that's a ton to unpack here. So let me go through a couple of things here,
Okay.
real quick. So Josh, if you're still watching, food has nothing to do with chunky. It's because you don't do nothing physical in your life. Troy says he likes how I'm drinking, eating healthy. And listen, Troy's probably one of the most physical guys I've ever known in my life. We used to work out together in the Marine Corps, and I got a curiosity question for him as we go through this. What my cousin Heather says with Rosie food wasn't with any of that processed junk. That was my great grandmother. My great grandmother passed away when I was 4. My cousin knew my great grandmother better than I did, and we called her Grandma Rosie. And she's absolutely right. My great grandmother used to make the bread for the week. She would make the cookies on Friday. Everything was made for the week. I agree with Troy. It comes down to money. And I agree with you. I agree with them. Make them yummy. I don't like a lot of the foods that they say are healthy foods. I do want to get your opinions on fasting. Don't ever say I never work out, Troy. I will still listen. We can still get at it. I still get at it at the gym all the time. I have never stopped. Partially, funny story. Troy and I were running one time, and we're having a conversation. We're running around New River Air Station, and in the middle of our conversation, a bird just falls and dies in front of us. It must have hit a power line, and we were both like, "Holy shit, what is that?" And it just and like we heard something, and then the bird went,
Mm-hmm.
and that's actually happened to me 2 times in my life where birds died like that. Real
Oh,
quick, folks, we're getting close. This is the New Scotland last call. This week, trade ordinary for extraordinary. New Scotland Spirits is your go-to for small batch handcrafted whiskey made right here in New York. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just real deal flavors from grain to glass. See that? It's healthy, grain to glass. Whether you're relaxing on the porch or celebrating something big, make sure what's in your glass is worth it. Head to newscotlandspirits.com and stock up. New Scotland Spirits, local grain, legendary pour. Listen to him. Listen to him walking around people at the gym. Brother, bring your ass from Oklahoma when you are prepared. Because I know. Bring your ass from
does that count?
Oklahoma. Bring your ass. We will go to the gym. I will make sure I wear your skinny ass out. He said, I remember that. Not know where. Yes, it was you and me together. We were running. We were on that one road. I don't even remember what name of the road was, but kind of a twofold thing. I'm going to ask you a question, Michelle, because I do think this is a great question from Troy about fasting. But I'm also curious from Troy. One of the habits I found myself in from spending 20 years in the Marine Corps is eating when I'm not hungry, eating because it's time to eat.
Mm.
Like I get up in the morning. It's morning. I need to eat. It's sometime between 11 and 1. I need to eat. It's after 4 o'clock, between 4 and 6. I need to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to me that I catch myself. I'm like, I'm not hungry, but my brain's telling me, hey, I need to go eat. It's that time, because if you don't eat now, you're going to go into that appointment and you're going to become hungry and you're going to lose focus. So I just need to put something in my body. But going back to Troy's comment, do you have any opinions on fasting?
Yeah. So, what I think everybody is different. Everybody's body is different, and I think that people have to give themselves grace and give themselves an opportunity to figure out what works for them. Fasting may work for some people. Fasting may not work for other people. Here's what I want people to understand and know is that we've been conditioned in many ways by the industry, by the weight loss industry, that hunger is a bad thing. Take this pill, do this, it will curb your hunger, it'll stop hunger. Well,
Right.
I will tell you that hunger is a good thing. We need hunger. Hunger is important. Hunger is a signal to our body that it needs nourishment and nutrition. The problem is what we have been conditioned to do in response to hunger. We have been conditioned to eat that which does not nourish our body. So if you're hungry and you go pick up chips and a soda, that's not what your body is asking for. That's not nourishing and nutritious. When you're hungry, when your body is saying, feed me, your body is saying, give me some broccoli, give me some fresh fruits and vegetables, give me some high quality protein. That's what your body is asking for. But we go give it chips and a soda, and we keep giving it chips and a soda, and we can never eat enough chips or drink enough soda to satisfy what our body is actually asking for. And those things that are high in calories, right? They're high in calories, low in nutrition. They are addictive, and we keep eating them. The body keeps saying, I'm hungry. We keep feeding it. We keep feeding it that stuff. And so that cycle continues, and you don't understand why, because we're not giving our bodies what our bodies are really asking for. So back to the thing about fasting. I mean the research is out there that we can go longer without food than we can without water.
Right. We've always
well, not everybody knows that, right? So I think fasting works for some people and can work for some people. I think that there's some real mental as well as physical benefits for fasting. And one of them is that
I'm listening, because
one of
I would
them,
murder the whole room.
no. One of them is this. It helps you realize that you don't need as much food as you think you need, because we are conditioned on these big portions, right? That I mean, you go to some restaurants, the meal is 1,500 calories and on a plate of food. And if you have grown up with clean your plate, we don't waste food in this house, right? We don't waste food. Food costs money, right? We're right.
Right.
Then
Absolutely.
then if you're on a diet for some reason, for you're following some sort of plan, and the plan says eat until you're full, right? Eat until you're no longer hungry. You can't even hear that because you got this big plate of food and you have this old messaging that says, this old condition that says, clean your plate. We don't throw away food.
I'm
And
gonna throw
so that and so that's a food story right there that we unpack. Even for some people, I've worked with people that say, I have worked all day. I'm so tired. I'm going to come home. I'm going to get something to eat, and I'm going to go to bed. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because so here's the thing: if you are tired, if you are exhausted, then what you need is rest, not food. But if you have grown up with some sort of lack, if you have a food story that says there's some shame that's around going to bed hungry, because if I go to bed hungry, I'm going to wake up hungry because there's no food, then you feel like you've got that old conditioning that says,
Right.
I can't go to bed hungry because there's something wrong with that. And there's not anything wrong with it if you're not hungry and what you are is tired, because you can wake up and you're still going to have plenty of food. But that's that subconscious and unconscious programming, that unconscious story that people fight, that exists, that they don't even know that's there, that's driving their behavior.
So I'm going to flip it on you for a second.
Okay.
Because the other side to it is, and again, folks, we check out go.michelle.petties.com, petties.com. You can see what she's got going on. So the other side to it, one of my favorite Marine, he's the best mustache in the entire world. Murph, I was that guy that would pig out even if I was full, but now I don't clean my plate no more, even if it's wasted. It's interesting to me because I'm hearing these, and these are Marines that I've known for forever and a day, and all of them are Marines, and we have that mental challenge of meals were timelines in our life.
Mm-hmm.
You got up in the morning, grab breakfast, boom. Or, hey, you're going to PT, maybe you can grab breakfast afterwards. It's chow time. We're going to go eat. Hey, the day is ended. Go eat. Your day is done. And they were timelines for him, and I live with those timelines. But the other side to it is I hear this like Troy is a very he's an insane human being. He's absolutely insane. He's one of the guys like, I'm sorry, man, I can't go to the bar right now. I've got to go ride a bike for 100 miles because I'm an insane person. Like, he's that guy, all these different guys. But how do you address people who, for them, they've listened to and like you said, 700 pounds over the years of dropping weight, gaining weight, dropping weight, gaining weight. I've talked to people like they're addicted to weight loss. And I believe that's an addiction, weight loss. How do you address the mental side of that? Like, to say, hey, like, you can do, because I think about it as you're saying, I'm thinking to myself, I retired, I was 170 pounds, I'm 220 now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to myself all the time, like, damn, bro, you're 50 pounds heavier than you were. And I give myself excuses all the time, like, well, you blew your knee out after you retired, this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
How do you work with folks to say, like, no, this is the process?
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure. I want to go back to what I just said. It is a matter of reprogramming your mind and your thoughts using that process that I call VAMP: visualization, affirmation, meditation, and prescriptive writing. And I know for people that are doers, right? For people that are in this like behavior kind of world, that stuff seems like, how could that possibly work? But it doesn't seem like it's anything. But it is the unseen power. It is the unseen motivation that is behind change. So the way that it works, Sean, I'll tell you, I have a platform. Like my brand is called Brand New. I am brand new now. Yes. And it is because it is brand new thinking. the way that you do it is you change your thinking, and changing your thinking is a process. Changing your thinking doesn't happen overnight. And what most people don't realize or even understand is that whatever weight we carry on our body, whatever extra weight, whatever extra ounce of anything, before you ever gained it on your body, you gained it in your head first. And if you gained it in your head first, you have to lose it in the same way. And the way that you lose it in the same way is you unlearn the things you learned to put it on. You rewrite those lies. You rewrite those misinterpretations, those misconceptions. You change that. And you change that with the visualization, the affirmations, the meditation, and prescriptive writing. And you do it over and over. It is like this. It is like this when you remember. I remember being in the first grade learning how to write. And I'm gonna do this really quickly. You got the big fat pencil, and you were trying to write your ABCs, and they all look crooked. They didn't look like anything like the numbers, the ABCs up around the perimeter on the board. And you take it to the teacher, and the teacher said, "Baby, they look so good. Your numbers look beautiful." And you're like, "But no, they don't. They look all crooked." And she said, "No, they look good." And but you practice every day. You practice every day, and by the end of the year, your numbers, your alphabet look better, and you're feeling pretty good. Then the next year, you go to the second grade, you get the number 2 pencil, you get the yellow pencil, and you're doing cursive. They probably don't do cursive in school right now, but now they don't. And so, but now you're doing that, and the crayons again, right? And so you are practicing every day. You're practicing your letters, and you're taking them up to the teacher, and the teacher's saying, "Baby, that looks so good. Your alphabet, your script, all that looks real good." And you're thinking, "No, they don't." But then at the end of the year, about midway through the year, all of a sudden it feels natural. It feels good. And you like to write. It's fun. Instead of putting a dot above your eye, you're putting the little hearts on your eye. Instead of crossing your T's straight a line, you're doing little curly cues. You're putting little curly cues under your name. That is because you have mastered it. It's mastery. But the only way you got mastery is because you practice this new thing every day, and you got affirmed every day, and you did it in a group, and it is the same thing with changing your beliefs and your attitudes around what you eat and why you eat it. So we introduce the new concept. What I do is I introduce a new emotion related to food every week. And people work in a group with a partner every day, because you eat every day, because we're assaulted by the snack food companies, the junk food companies, the processed food companies, the toxic thoughts, the toxic memories. We're assaulted by that every day. So we work on writing prompts with a partner every day to rewrite new thoughts around how to manage emotions as they relate to food. And you do that for a year. And what I guarantee is at the end of 52 weeks, you will know how to manage 52 different thoughts and emotions around food that have kept you stuck, so that you can do something that honors your body, and you use food in a way that nourishes and strengthens you. That's how it works.
Michelle, you are absolutely incredible. You are absolutely awesome. There's not enough adjectives I have in my mind to say how incredible this entire conversation has been. And I hope that everybody takes the time and they go to go.michelle.pettis.com/get-unstuck. Real quick, we've got a couple of minutes here. You've got upcoming on the September 9th. You have
that workshop.
A workshop. Now, is this an online workshop? How does that work?
It's an online workshop. And so the program is called Mind Over Meals. The program is called Mind Over Deals. It is a 8-day online retreat. Every day for this particular retreat, we're calling it to break the consistency code. Because that's what people say to me all the time. I can't be consistent. I can't be consistent. Well, here the thing is, we know how to be consistent. What you don't know how to do is change. And what you don't know how to do is change in the face of all these advertising and marketing lies that are heaped upon you. And then that's what I teach you how to break during this upcoming workshop.
Listen, I get this. I can't even begin to explain to you how incredible this conversation has been. And you've got my mind thinking about things. Now, I will tell you, I think about them like a Marine. Like all right, I will just abuse myself until things change. The morale beatings will continue until morale improves. Look, folks, if you're finding me through Michelle or Michelle through me, please take the time, like, share, follow. Check her out on Instagram. It is I am brand new now is her link on Instagram. See what she's got going on. Check out her different comments and messages. You can find her on LinkedIn under Michelle Petties, Petties. You can go to her website, go.michelle.pettis.com. You can see all the things she's got going on there. You can find out what she's got happening. Michelle, just absolutely an incredible conversation. I think it's one of those ones that I could have for another hour and wouldn't even think much of it. Just one of those type of conversations. Make sure if you're just finding us, make sure you're joining us next week. We're having Bill Overholt is going to be on next week. Bill has got 22 years of sales leadership with Johnson & Johnson. He's a results-driven kind of guy, but he actually owns his own Troy, you know I love you, brother, man. Give my love to the whole fam. He's got his own business now. We're going to be talking a little bit about entrepreneurship, franchises. How does that work in people's lives? I always love talking about these type of things. So we're going to be talking to him next week. Make sure you join us. As always, folks, it's every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know it's cliche with all the follows, but now don't log off on me after this, Michelle. We got to talk for just a moment afterwards.
Well, thank you, Sean. So I just want to say thank you for this conversation, for holding
space
for
the final word. So give me the final word.
I'm ahead of the final words.
You're ahead of it. So I always say the guest always gets the final word. So what's the final word for tonight?
Oh, the final word is just I have truly enjoyed this conversation. I really have, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for this platform. So grateful for the work that you do, for the questions, for just letting me, introducing me to your audience, and for you being receptive. So this is how we push this forward. This is how we raise our collective consciousness and really create some change and get our health back, get our power back. That's what it's about, getting our power back.
Alrighty, folks, be sure to push your stool in. This has been a Second Front podcast presentation found on Apple, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found.